Great. Amazing. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to our Tech for Good panel today. We have three panelists here with us today. We have Myra, and we have Sally, and we have Arita. So thank you all for coming. We really appreciate having you here. And I think we can just get started into the questions. The first question is just going to be, can you introduce yourselves, who you are, like what you do? And just, we can start off with Arita.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. My name is Arita, and I'm currently a third-year computer science major. And my experience from working with nonprofits really started with Girls Who Code in 2016 when I was in high school, and I had never really thought of computer science as a career, but Girls Who Code really showed me that tech is more than just computer science. There's a lot of people who really want you to succeed, and I met a lot of great people, and some of my friends from Girls Who Code still are with me today. So I thought it was a really great opportunity and a really awesome nonprofit. And since then, there's been a couple nonprofits that I've started and nonprofits that I've led or been part of as director, and I've been continuing to give back to the community through student hackathons.
Plus student hackathons?
600 plus people attending the hackathons. I think sometimes that's kind of confusing, but I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how to word that. But 600 plus attendee hackathons, from high school events to collegiate events. And usually during the summer, I volunteer as a speaker for camps and workshops like Girls Who Code. There's also a couple places that I've interned at, and right now I'm on Apple working on my messages.
Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, also, just for our attendees, we will be having a live Q&A session at the end. So please, if you have any questions, write them down or maybe keep them in the chat box. And then once we have our live Q&A session, please feel free to send that in for each speaker or panelist. Next, we have Myra.
Hi, everyone. My name's Myra Benjamin. My pronouns are she and her. And I've been in tech for over 2 decades. And I've been playing different roles in a lot of different engineering organizations. Some of the companies I've worked at are PayPal, Sybase, Esurance, Visa. I was doing a longer stint at Pandora, which is the internet company. And I was there about 7.5 years, but currently I'm with change.org and I'm the Senior Director of Engineering. I've managed a lot of different teams over the years. Some of them are computational programming, done recommendations, search, music tools, content operations, and growth and retention. At change.org, I am overseeing a couple of packs. One of them is the petitions, which is we call starters. The other one's communications and integrity, which has to do with security. So I'm also a published author. I wrote a book, a tech book, a long time ago on C++ in Corba. I have published lyrics. I am a classically trained pianist. I do have a biochemical engineering doctoral student. She is going to graduate in June, yes. And we'll be working for a biotech startup, and I love to knit. So I have a Bachelor of Arts degree in statistics from UC Berkeley and a master's in liberal studies from Mills College, which unfortunately is starting to close down. I'm also the founder of the Tech Intersections Conference, which is a conference for women of color in tech. And that's me. Thanks.
Wow, that's a lot. Can I ask what you like to knit the most?
I can knit anything. I've been knitting hats, scarves, shawls, mittens, gloves, sweaters, and a skirt. And I just finished a project, which is a really cool turquoise blue sweater that fades into gray. Maybe at the end of the session, I'll hold it up or something. But yeah, I
Yeah.
just love to knit. So yeah, and it's funny because I'll be knitting while at my other companies, and a lot of engineers come by, and it's a divide by zero thing for them. So what can I say?
That's really cool. That's awesome. Okay, and next we have Sally.
Hi everyone, I'm Sally. I am a senior education program developer at LaunchCode, which is a national nonprofit based here in St. Louis. I'm actually 2 hours ahead right now. And I did not study computer science, but I did graduate from Kenyon College with a degree in chemistry with a concentration on scientific computing, which was Kenyon's form at the time of like some sort of vague computer science situation. And then after that, I tried to be a freelancer and I was not good at it because I didn't have the hustle required for being a freelancer. But I loved iOS development and I loved education. So in 2016, I joined LaunchCode and I have been there ever since. And I also love knitting and I have a dog. So those are two cool things.
Wow. What breed is your dog?
She is a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, and I had to close the door because she loves video conferences because people are obsessed with her. Like she jumps up on my lap, so she will not be joining today, but she's great.
Yeah, that's so cute. That's amazing. And lastly, we had another panelist who sadly could not make it today. She is the founder of Nina Space, which recently rebranded to Cosmos Pics. It's a Portuguese startup that uses AI and tech to combat climate change and specifically wildfires. So yeah, unfortunately, she had some conflicts with her travels, but she did send in a 7-minute video that we are planning to play at the end of this panel. So please keep listening. Yes, and now I'm going to introduce myself and then Kushi will introduce herself. Hello, I'm Elise Jang. I'm going to be the moderator kind of person for this panel. I am a first year at UCI, currently undecided and pursuing CS, or thinking of pursuing CS if I could get it. And yeah, I wanted to help plan VenusHacks because it was something that I felt I could like use my experiences and like my limited knowledge in CS to help the community. And overall, it's been very fun. And I'm excited to help out in this panel. Kushi?
Hi, I'm Kushi. I'm a third-year computer science student at UCI. I'm working with Elise to host this panel session. Hope you guys enjoy it.
Okay. And now we're going to head into our panel questions, and Kushi can start us off with those.
Yeah, so our first question is, can you talk to us about your company and what the company does and how you use tech for social good? We could go in order of how you all introduce yourself. You can start with Arita.
So there are, so even though I'm currently working at Apple, the like Tech for Good company that I'm going to be talking about, a nonprofit, is both Superposition and Blueprint at UCI. So to give some context, Superposition is a hackathon that I started in 2016, just in promotion of women in tech, especially since in 2016, there were not a lot of female empowering events. And since then, it's become an international nonprofit. And we actually just had our like most recent hackathon. Even though I'm not part of the organization anymore, the organization kind of works like a college club where they host hackathons, they host workshops, they host panels with industry leaders, as well as like technical workshops like learning the basics of Python. And in all, the biggest reason, or one of their biggest efforts, is bringing computer science to young women all over the world. And what that means is through opening their own chapters. So just in the Bay Area, I think we have like 20 chapters across all of the major high schools in like the Bay Area, and I'm pretty sure we're international. I can link the website later if you are interested in learning more. So like their website or their Slack. And Blueprint at UCI is a club that I was previously the president of, and as an organization, we originate from UC Berkeley, and essentially we help nonprofits who don't have the technical ability to implement whatever they need. So let's say if a volunteer nonprofit needs a platform where they can manage everyone's volunteer hours, we can build that for them. And I will also send more information in the link below, but yeah.
I'll go next. Change.org is known globally for a platform that enables people to enact change in their communities or in their countries. It's usually done by, it's triggered by petitions, and then people come and support the petitions. We've had a lot of victories with our platform. Last year, when the George Floyd incident happened, we had a petition on our website that garnered a ton of traffic, and as a result, we raised millions of dollars, and we now have a fund that will go towards empowering communities of color as an outgrowth of that petition. We don't use technology per se directly for good, but we provide that platform to create good in all over the world. And yeah, and that's what change.org does.
That's amazing. Sally, do you want to go next?
Yeah, so LaunchCode, we're a national nonprofit, and we provide opportunities to join the tech workforce to anyone who wants to join the tech workforce. And we do that through two different ways. We provide free education programs for people who want to gain the skills necessary to get a job in technology. And then we also provide free job placement programs through tech apprenticeships to people who want to get their foot in the door.
Okay, amazing. Sounds great. So a lot of these companies or organizations, they might not specifically use like tech for good, but like, what do you think the importance of technology in social good is? Arita, do you want to start?
Oh, sure. So for me, I believe that tech at its core is solving problems, and for like using technology for social good, I feel like that's such a big reason why tech is here. So like, let's say for example, like Facebook and Twitter, like all the big social media tech giants, were created to help people connect from one another. And especially with Twitter, it originated, or one of the biggest reasons how Twitter blew up was because of Hurricane Katrina. And that's because people were able to tweet that they were like stuck in XYZ location, or they could tell their family members that like, I'm okay. Due to like even though technology has spiraled so much from just like social good, it still has the ability to impact a lot of people. And even with like change.org, like people can create petitions and sign them and be able to like make change in their community. And for example, GoFundMe, like millions of people have gotten the funding that they need in order to restart their life, or get the surgery that they need, or help the animal that they like found. And I feel like tech in social good is so important because again, like I said, technology is here to solve problems, and that's exactly what a lot of these tech companies are doing.
And I think a lot of you are pretty familiar with what change.org does. And I think in the end, when I joined the company, I started seeing some of the impact outside of the United States and the global impacts. And so we usually have the petition starters come to our company meeting, which happens every week. And they talk about how their petition has changed something. For instance, there was one that was going for in Russia around women being beaten and brutalized by men. And there was a law that they wanted to overturn in Russia where it would make it a huge offense. It was a minor offense at that point. And so this person had gotten, I think, 1 million signers and presented the petition to the government and the local government, actually, in one of the states. And she was able to get that particular state to enact stricter laws. And so as a consequence, women are safer in that particular state in Russia. And there are so many other examples that happen on change.org, but I do firmly believe that this technology has enabled people to connect and create movements or causes that they believe in, and then they take it over the finish line and get change enacted as a result. So I do firmly believe in technology being applied, when it's applied correctly, can result in really positive social changes all over the world.
Yeah, from kind of working at LaunchCode, I would say that I don't like build a ton of really complex apps, but I do build things that people use to learn. And one thing that our executive director once said that really stuck with me is talent is equally distributed, but opportunity is not. And giving people the opportunity to increase their salary by joining the tech workforce. Developers tend to be really well paid in this country. Giving them that opportunity can change their lives. I've had students who've messaged me saying now they can buy a house, or now they can send their children to the school that works best for their children. And even if it's something relatively small, even if it's just a piece of broken starter code, giving people that code so they can start learning and helping them build their skills so they can take those skills in the direction they want to take them and contribute to technology for social good, so should they so wish, is something that shows to me how this field can really impact and change people's lives as well, just from also the perspective of the developers, not just the people who use the applications. So
Thank you for sharing your insight on tech for social good. How did all three of you get started in the company that you're working for? What particularly drew you to this company? Was it the mission statement or something else about it?
Let's start off with Sally now. Other way around.
okay. So how I got started at LaunchCode was I was not hustling very well, and like you just have to you have to have it. Freelancers are amazing people, and I literally don't know how they do it. But you really have to have something. So I knew from just my experience, my first job was working in an organization here in St. Louis, helping students through the school year. And I was like, this is really cool. I worked in college with an organization that would bring fifth graders from the local public schools into our like college campus, and we would do science experiments and stuff together. And I was having all these fun little jobs, and I was like, I should go back to that. Like that education thing was really cool. So I was applying for basically anything that like STEM education, and that is basically how I found LaunchCode. I actually started out as something called a candidate engagement manager, and then I've kind of been there for 5 years. But what mainly drew me there was the mission statement, and also we have a program as part of our education programs called Coder Girl, which is focused on providing an educational space for women who want to learn these tech skills. And that was something I was particularly interested in. And once the first person who interviewed me was like, have you read about Coder Girl? I was like, oh my gosh, I have to work here. This has to be my place. So, and I've been here for a while.
How long have you been working there?
I have been here for over 5 years now. So it's been a good time.
Okay, Myra.
Yeah, so I have to say that for most of my career, except for my first job, I've been lucky enough to have a network that reaches out to me and says, hey, there's an opportunity to work at this particular company, XYZ. And so that was the way I got into change.org, mostly because the CTO there, who is a woman, had reached out to me and said, hey, I'm over here and I would like for you to consider working here. I had worked with her at a previous startup, and so we had a relationship. Of course, that didn't guarantee that I would get the job, but it helped me to be aware of it and then apply for it and, of course, interview for it. And so I would have to say that when I advise people about what they can do for their careers, to always build a network of people while you're at that company, and then keep building that network. And after a while, what happens is that people reach out to you and present opportunities for you. So I've been lucky that way. And the other reason I'm at change.org, of course, is the mission statement. For most of my career, I've been working for all kinds of companies. And the bottom line with all of that was that my talent was being used to enrich investors, shareholders, the C team, and so forth. And I just didn't want to continue that route anymore. And I wanted to actually use my talent to help enact some change in communities everywhere. So that's how I ended up at change.org.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really cool. Arita.
So for me, Superposition was an organization that I created. So I can talk more about how I found other women to join me. So through Girls Are Code and through reaching out to different high schools around my area, I reached out to them and said that this is an organization that I want to start. Are there any people that are interested in? And I created an application and people and interview people so that I could create my team. And for Blueprint, Blueprint was actually started by a couple of my good friends who are a year or 2 years older than me. And I was able to reach out to them, or they originally had this idea since one of the people, or one of the original founders, interned at Datadog, who was, and one of the members who were in her intern cohort was from the UC Berkeley chapter. So they got in touch, and then that friend got in touch with me and brought a bunch of her friends to just start this organization, since everyone was interested in promoting social good, as well as helping UCI students develop more of a project-based portfolio rather than the school projects that we had been creating and going through in classes. So expanding both our knowledge in what industry standards look like, as well as helping nonprofits along the way.
Nice. That was very nice. So after hearing all of you guys talk, everyone talk, it seems like networking is a huge part in being professional and being in the workforce, right? So Myra, you said that you kept in contact with someone who somebody who reached out to you from your previous startup. How did you continue your relationship with them? Did you message them often, or were you just acquaintances?
No, I do message out people, not all the time, but I try to keep in touch with people once a quarter, or I text people. It just depends on whether I can remember, because there's a whole lot of people that I have on in my network, and sometimes they reach out to me. And so a lot of people, I consider them to be, you have more acquaintances than friends, but acquaintances are good to have in your network as well. And that leads me to my second rule in careers is don't burn your bridges, because tech is a very small community. It seems like it's large, but it's funny how many people I run into everywhere I go in different companies that I used to work with or worked for or knew of them. And so you want to always not try to burn any bridges and be as professional as you can. But and then the third thing is, if you do a good job, people remember you, and then when there's an opportunity, they'll reach out to you.
Yeah, definitely heard that tech is very small and don't burn bridges. So we'll keep that in mind. Moving on to the next question. I guess a lot of you guys have had experiences, like everyone has had experiences in a company unrelated to social good or like using tech for good. So how do you feel that your position in this sector of tech differs from those positions that you've had in the past? We'll start with Sally again.
Well, I guess my main other position was me trying to be self-employed. So the great thing is I have other people now. But I think I don't even know fully how to describe it, but like the camaraderie and the friendship that I have built at LaunchCode, not only just like with my team, which teams are very important. That is like a piece of job advice I'd have. Like if you're applying for a job, and they give you the opportunity to meet your team, like definitely meet with them. Even if they have like no say, like the team dynamics are so important. And the other thing is just like my growth and development matters, because everyone who works at LaunchCode wants everyone to have opportunities. So that extends also to like my manager wanting me to have the opportunities that I want to grow in my career in the way that I want to. They're very focused on growth in a way that I haven't personally experienced outside of my current role. So I think that's one thing. And just like, you just meet the coolest people. When you're just like bonded by this one purpose, you just meet the coolest people. So everyone at LaunchCode is my friend.
That's amazing. That's really cool. Yeah, so were there like any differences in I mean, I guess yeah, there probably were, but like were there any differences to like your day-to-day from like your previous experiences?
Well, in the day-to-day, I think the other main thing I would say is that there's a lot of, I guess there's just a lot of jumping between two. Like if you work, the smaller the company you work for, the more you're gonna have to like, kind of jump around and do things that you weren't originally like accustomed to doing or didn't originally like think you were going to do. But in that way, you're going to grow a lot faster. If you're focused on just one technology, like I was like, oh, I'm just gonna try and build these mobile apps, and that was cool. But at LaunchCode, like they need education programs to match every need in the tech workforce. So I might jump from looking at Java code to looking at C# code, and then I'm back at JavaScript and Angular, and then suddenly I'm doing some research on like Tableau. And that's all could happen in one day. So I'm jumping a lot faster, but in that way, I'm also learning a lot faster than I did. And it's challenging me more as a developer, my day-to-day, than I think previously just focusing on one thing all day.
Yeah, that does sound really difficult and challenging, but that's amazing that you're doing that. Myra?
So we're talking about how this particular
How it differs from your like
from other companies that I've been at that aren't focused towards social good. Is that
yeah.
correct? Yeah, okay. So all the other companies that I've been at up to change.org have not been focused in this area at all. And their focus has always been on the bottom line, which is profitability and being able to sustain themselves and give returns to their shareholders and all of that. So with change, that isn't the focus. The focus has always been to democratize social activism throughout the world. And there is no focus on profitability, even though we do want to be profitable in a sense. That profit doesn't go towards shareholders or other people like that. So the profits that we do have usually get distributed back out to organizations. So the whole focus is so different from other tech companies that I've been at. And also here, I get to influence decisions at a higher level than I did at previous companies. So I report directly to the CTO. And so then I have her ear, and I also have the ear of the CEO as well. So that's really never happened in my entire career, except for the startups that I've worked at. And even then, in the startups, the founders were always so busy that they didn't interact with us that frequently. So I feel really lucky to have landed in a company where I'm going to grow from a career point of view and also contribute to the social good for the world as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. Do you think that because there wasn't as much effort or emphasis on profit, that like the environment in the company was a lot more friendlier, or were there like differences in that sense?
Um, I think this company also has a really strong focus on equity and diversity and inclusion as well. And it's just in their DNA. And it's harder to put that back into a company once the company has started. So it's true when you start a company, if you don't start thinking about your mission, if diversity, inclusion, and equity don't matter to you, then that doesn't present itself in the DNA of the company. Whereas in change.org, that is the company. And so everything is geared towards that. And people that work there have a lot of passion for making promises to change the world. And so the focus, it's a different vibe. It doesn't have this weird, crazy, chaotic, oh, I must get this done. I mean, we do have that so often, but it's not attenuated by it has to get done, otherwise we don't make our numbers. And so you don't get that financial lens, which usually kind of spoils everything as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's definitely really that's really nice that the environment is like that. And I mean, I expect nothing less from change.org, but that's really cool. Arita, do you need me to restate the question?
Oh, no, I have it up. Okay. So for me, I feel like for companies that are unrelated to social good, even though their company isn't like strictly, oh, we're a social good company, I feel like a lot of companies still have that incorporated into their mission and value. Say, for example, like currently I'm in Apple, and even though like we're at a, a technology company at its core, there's a lot of like social good initiatives that we have, like supporting women in tech. Apple is currently the lifelong sponsor of NCWIT, which is like the National Women for Computing, and they like help sponsor a lot of their events, as well as giving I'm pretty sure it's like scholarships to people who attend their events, or like up to like $5,000 in creating events. Even like I'm pretty sure like Wix is a recipient of that for the middle school program that I hear you guys have. And then I feel like a lot of the position can change, like determining on what your role is. Like for example, when I was at superposition, my role was not technical at all. It was strictly all like logistical work, or like corporate sponsoring, finding corporate sponsorships, or like doing social media outreach to make sure that like people come to our events. And while as like, let's say at Apple, like I'm a software engineering intern, so my work is like fully like tech, but or like is fully like software engineering related, but I'm still able to push products that I know that will have a consumer like update, or improve their lives in some sort of way. So overall, I think it is still different, but everyone still has that mission in mind to promote social good.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. That was very informative. Thank you, everyone. I think we're going to head on to the live Q&A session so that everyone can kind of have like we can hear the questions and we can hear from the audience. You can either send it to me personally, attendees, or you can just send it in the chat and we'll be good with that. We can start off. Okay, so this is from Grace. For the panelists, is there a special moment or experience from your time working at these companies that sticks out in your mind, and why? And whoever has a thought can go ahead.
I actually already answered it in the chat, but I'll repeat that.
I'm sorry, I did not see that.
No worries at all. It'd have to be, as I said, that moment that I realized I didn't have to do the heavy lifting to create communities around me like I always do at all the different companies. And I had no idea how much of a lift that was to me, and how it had affected me at previous companies, and how I wasn't able to really do my full job. And so at Change, all this was already created. And so then I felt very supported, and I didn't have to do that work. It was, it was just something that confirmed that I was at the right place at that point.
Yeah, I don't think it's like one unique moment for me, but all of our classes are virtual now, but we used to have them in person. And so it's kind of two moments for me. It's like the first day of class and you walk out of we had like a little office area, and I'd walk out of the office area, and all of our classes are night classes. So I would be leaving and there would be like 150 to 200 people packed in this space, laptops like everywhere. And they were just so excited and they were so ready to learn. And it like brings so much joy to my heart, especially when it's something that I've like written and people are talking about how funny they thought it was, or like how helpful it was. And then also we have these graduations at the end of each class, and we have a session where people it's like an open mic session, and I always cry, like just without fail. I will 100% cry hearing someone talk about what it means to them to get the chance at a free education to learn skills for a job they actually want and are interested in, and that they are like how much that could change their life. So I will probably cry again if I talk about it more, so I'm going to mute myself now, but I definitely always cry every graduation.
Oh, that is so sweet. That is adorable. Arita?
So specifically at Superposition, that was one of like the very first events that I ever hosted, and it was the first time that like it was my own, and it like I think one of my proudest moments in my life is after the event ended, and there were a lot of mothers and fathers who came to me and thanked them for hosting an event because there had been no like hackathons in their area or no like women-centric events that they would feel comfortable sending their daughter to. So I felt like that was super empowering because it made me feel that like I know that I was doing a cool event, and like having like people sign up, like that's super cool, and having corporate sponsors being interested in sponsoring the event was cool. But having like a mom and dad like come up to me and thanking them for doing this work was super special to me, and I still remember that moment to my day.
Oh, that is so sweet. That's actually really adorable. Yeah, I don't think that there are any more questions in the chat, but I think if do any of you guys have any um, advice for our attendees who are interested in getting involved in this sector of technology? And we can go like whoever has anything.
I guess I can go. So I would say, and this will apply to whatever you want to do in tech, but you're kind of too excited about two different areas in tech. You're either excited about the tools you're working on or the applications of the tools you're working on, and you can be excited about both things at once. But the great thing about working in this sector is like whatever way you want to make the world better, there is probably someone trying to do it, and you can just go join them, and they will be happy to have you. And the tool, like you might not have learned the tools yet that you will need to go join them, but you can learn them quickly because you already learned another set of tools once. And once you learn one programming language, like the rest will just fall down like dynamos. But whatever way you're interested in changing the world, there is someone trying to change the world, and you can just literally, there are probably on GitHub right now looking for help. So you can go find them and help them. That's just find your way you want to change the world. You can do it.
Yeah, I completely agree with Sally. I think no matter like where you are with your like programming level, or like if you're like interested in like project management or whatever, there's you can start anywhere. And like a big part of that would be just like searching up on Google or Bing or whatever to see like what nonprofits are already out there and how you can support them. And I also think like the nonprofit industry is super big on Twitter. If you're interested in that in social media, you can definitely like follow up on what different people are doing, and like if they have opportunities. And like don't feel afraid to just DM them or email them like, hey, like I'm a computer science major at blah 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 university. Like I'm super interested in your nonprofit. Like how can I help? And they'll definitely have something for you to help, because nonprofits are constantly in need of people, and your work is going to impact someone, and even in that organization in some type of way. And I think even if you are not able to find something that matches your interests, you can create it. I feel like self-starters are like super cool, and if you need to start something that you feel like no one has done before, like you do whatever, make your mark in the world.
Yeah, I totally agree with Sally and Arita about this. I think in the end, what you want to do is pursue the thing that you're passionate about, because you will never be sorry for doing that. Because if you don't, you'll be sorry then. And so any way that whatever you're passionate about, it might not even be related to this, it could be related to something else, just pursue it. And my next thing about that is always have a plan B. I tell everybody, not everything works out, but if you have a plan B, then it won't be as scary. So just have that plan B just in case whatever you're pursuing doesn't quite work out or flails out. Because I know this from working at various startups, so always had to have a plan B in that scenario.
Well, that was That was so helpful, you guys. Thank you for all of the advice. I think that was inspiring for everyone here. Because it is 11:50, we're going to play Katya's video for 7 minutes and then we'll close off. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Can you guys see it? Okay. Let me know if there are any problems with it.
Hi, my name is Katya Stambuleva,
Hold
and I am
on.
the
Sorry. Let me.
Hi, my name is Katya Stambuleva, and I am the founder of Cosmos Pics. We are an environmental tech startup. A little bit more about me. I studied software engineering, which was not something that I was excited about. I was a little bit bored. I was bored, to be honest with you. And then I moved into AI and I worked with text, meaning natural language processing, for the beginning of my professional career. After that, I discovered that I can do a lot of things with AI and general data science. And I moved from simple text to any kind of data. And for the last 3 years of my life, I've been working with satellite images, which are just another type of data. And I really love working with satellite images because when we do analysis, we can see them and visualize them on the map. And I find this very powerful. I have been running businesses. This is my third startup for the last 6 years. So I'd say I'm both a technical and a business person. The next question I would like to answer is what my company does. So what we believe is that businesses should make a commitment to future generation and fight the global issue. Ours is wildfires and climate change, and we do this from space. We build an easy to use, do-it-yourself platform to analyze satellite images without friction. So that if you're an environmental protection agent or a business who wants to mitigate the climate risk for their business, you could do satellite image analysis without the need to waste a lot of resources and time. Usually it takes about 2 years to set up a system like this, and we make this happen in 5 days. Why is it important for us to do this? Because satellite images help us see something that is invisible and imperceptible for the human eye. And with this, we can manage the natural world so that when disasters happen, they do not grow into these monstrous proportions that we have seen in the last couple of years. What about tech for good? So here we can speak both about tech for social good and tech for environmental good. Tech for environmental good is more difficult to produce direct impact. However, we can empower the people who are taking care of the environment, be this on a government level, non-NGO level, or business level, and we can help them really increase the impact that they have in the world. So indirect impact is still very powerful. When we speak about tech for social good, in this case, we can develop technologies and platforms which can help us have direct impact. I'm sorry guys, I'm in a little bit a loud place, so you can hear some background noise behind me. Next question is, how did I apply to my company? Well, I founded the company, and what I found very useful was the fact that I understand the tech. So I could see what technologies we should use and understand, hey, if we're running behind schedule, what is the reason? What are the tech blockers that we had, so that I'm not like a business person who would be putting a lot of pressure for not delivering things on time, because sometimes with tech, some bugs or some problems need longer than we anticipated.